Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Saints Nation, to your Saints Gaming CA channel. We have Rocket League NACE Varsity Premier Rounds 1. I am your caster, Patrick Smoke Chambers, joined by the one, the only, the inspiration that got me actually into the space, Daniil
Hush.
Betterson McGee.
It's a
Welcome.
pleasure to be here. It's a surprise to many of you watching, I'm sure, that I'm up here excited for a Rocket League match. It's a surprise to myself as well. Wasn't expecting to come in tonight, but I'm always happy to fill in and bring the action alongside probably, in terms of all of esports, I feel like there's only two other casters I've enjoyed listening to more than Patrick Smoke Chambers, and they are top notch. That's just our action slacks. But in any case, you're one of the best, and it's always fun to have it.
Appreciate it. Very high praise. Very high praise. But we have to move on. We have to talk about our matchup tonight. We have Clair Saints Green going up against University of Central Missouri. The roster of Arju, Jazzy, and Zai going up against Frosky, Young Johnny, and Big Wheel. I did a little bit of research about University of Central Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the record isn't all that good, but at the same time, it was good enough for them to get into playoffs. Big Wheel, Grand Champ 3. This is kind of a Grand Champ roster. They are just GC3, GC2, GC1. And that being said, you know, they are definitely better than me as well, but considering that they aren't SSL like our roster, and they aren't even at that pro level of SSL, this should be a routine walk in the pond stomping, and if you're UCM, your goal is probably to just even take a single game off of this roster. If they can take a single game off this roster, and maybe even just score a few goals, I would say that's pretty impressive, and they've definitely lived up to make their name proud because of the fact that it's just sort of one of those differences in skill ceilings.
Yeah, and it's kind of contrary to what you would expect. It's these rosters that I'm most excited to take a look at. But let's take a look at our roster first. Let's see what our Saints team is going to be rocking with here tonight. Like you mentioned, Patrick, we got our regular lineup here, Arju, Jazzy, and PZY. Look at how menacing Arju is in that picture. You got the two on the right there. They're nothing.
It looks like Arju's actually like nearly cracking up laughing. He's very much holding back a smile.
Looks like he's cracking up something.
You
can
tell.
Laughter.
You know what? If it's anyone who looks the most serious, Jazzy looks like he's just seen some stuff. Like I don't even know what.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Jazzy's image is well, it just looks like utter shock. It looks like utter shock. He's just seen some crazy stuff.
It looks like he saw what Arju did.
Yes.
When Arju looks like he just finished doing something horrifying. Hopefully the pictures of our opponents are a little bit more suitable for their personalities, because those guys are jovial, friendly, fun-loving guys. But like I was talking about, UCM, obviously heavy underdogs, or under horses, if you will, tonight. But I love these kinds of rosters more than anything, because I could be wrong. I hope I'm correct here. This is probably a team, just a group of guys who go to their school and they love Rocket League and they wanted to see how far they can go in terms of competition. Yeah. And here they are in the NACE Varsity Premier League playoffs, and they're playing against the first seed, so it's a little unfortunate.
Hey,
it's going to be the first one here, but I'm sure they're going to have a good time one way or another.
You know what? I know it really, like, the way we're talking about it really does make us sound like snobs. I gotta be honest here. It does suck where this is coming from, but I'm trying to put myself in UCM's position for a second, right? If I'm a player who's just casually trying to play and get better at the game, and you know I'm hitting the rank of like Grand Champ, and I go to my school and I'm on a Rocket League team, we're in NACE, I get the opportunity. I don't care if I get first round. Yeah. I get the opportunity to compete against RLCS pros.
You know what I mean?
Like how like that's amazing, right? So you just have to take it with a grain of salt. This is probably a very cool moment for these guys, and honestly, I want to see them tear it up. I want to see them actually make our roster a little bit uncomfortable, because it's kind of ironic, but I was talking to Jazzy earlier. I know this is something he said in the past. Mm-hmm. The worse a team is, the more unexpected they play. Yeah. And the more unexpected they play, the more quote-unquote annoying they are to deal with. And we've seen Saints definitely fumble some series before.
We've seen them fumble some series
that they should have probably stomped. I know that they also are probably feeling like a little bit of a chip is on their shoulder to prove, because I know that when going to the bluegrass land at Kentucky, they were saying that they were more I guess not serious about, but they were more looking forward to winning the actual football tournament on the side that was being played, because of the fact that they just weren't scared of the competition. They didn't win the bluegrass land. They came second. So at the same time, they have a chip on their shoulder that they need to prove, and I think that this should be a statement win and the first step to taking those steps to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
A step on victory road,
Yeah, I guess a step on victory road, and also a step to just kind of prove themselves once again. But before we get into that, we have an interview with our coach, Thermal Rex Yusuf. Tonight, you have the first round of playoffs going up against UCM. Do you know anything about these guys other than maybe what their rankings show on NACE? And if you do, please give us a little bit of insight. If not, then I want you to tell us how sometimes this roster can kind of fumble series away against squads that play a little more unexpected.
He's trying his best to remember everything you just said.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea who we're playing. I know, everyone who made the NACE playoffs, they made NACE playoffs, so they deserve to be in the spot that they're in.
Yeah.
But I can definitely say that if we end up doing a little bit of trolling, they can definitely kind of take the series, because I'm not gonna lie, during Bluegrass we kind of did a little bit of trolling against Purdue, and then they ended up winning Game 5 against us, but it didn't really matter in the end because we still got second. We went far in the playoffs, but I think the most important thing for us is to kind of just stay focused, because I don't really want that to repeat during NACE.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't, especially against a roster of grand champs, right?
Yeah.
So
especially while I have an assignment due tonight, tell them not to troll. Okay.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you just get through. It's easy work. It's just another day at the office. And when we talk about another day at the office, what are some just key fundamentals that the guys just have to remember when playing in these playoff series as the playoffs get harder and harder as you progress, or at least you hope you do?
I think the most important thing is just staying locked in, because I think our biggest weakness is kind of when we get a lead, we kind of go for more flashy plays, kind of show off our mechanics, and it could kind of bite us in the butt a little bit. So I guess just staying locked in, not to troll when we have a lead, and just kind of parking the bus.
Fair. Hey, you know what? That's a bit of suffering from success, something that some of our teams here at St. Clair definitely suffer from. But I wanted to ask you something a little bit more unrelated. That's the realm, that's the territory I like to tread in. Between any of these teams, we have two high-level teams here at St. Clair for Rocket League. Any fun nicknames you got for the players, or they have for each other or yourself? That you're allowed to say on air?
I guess we kind of do this thing where we kind of end each other's names in Ina, so or Ita, so Shuffleverse, it would be Shuffleita, and then
Christian Ita.
Yeah, so it'd be something like that. There's some that we kind of came up when me and Shuffle were casting the couple of weeks ago with Zinaldo and our Jesse, and then for James or Jazzy, the Tank. So those are the ones that I guess I could say on it.
Yeah. And while it's up, how was casting that one time? It was pretty hype. I heard people liked it.
Yeah.
I definitely watched that one back. That was incredible.
Listen, I think we have one probably me and Shuffle are probably the best duo here. I'm just being honest. That's all I'm saying. It's only for special events. So if we gotta come in again, we gotta know kind of months prior, because we get booked a lot for casting.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They have no sense of the camera at all. These guys, these are the guys that you're vouching for right now? Yeah. Media train in my butt. Okay. All right.
Well, you know what? I will say I have in previous shared the same experience that you talk about yourself, Yusuf. It's hard when you're getting booked for certain events time and time again. And I feel your pain, because Yeah, we're definitely in the same tier. You may be one leg over me, but you guys, you and Shuffle, you're definitely the blueprint of what I watch to try to one day aspire to cast
Yeah,
like you. So
we're like S tier, and you're like
yeah.
right under us, but like you'll get there one day.
Right. Yeah, sure. All right, little bro. All right, well, thank you for the interview, Yusuf, Thermal, guys. Best of luck in all seriousness, and we hope to see you move on in this NACE playoffs. Please do not troll.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, absolutely. And yeah, you know what? I mean, Yusuf, he's a great guy. Thermal, great coach. And honestly, same with Shuffle. These guys have been, ever since they've come here, they've always been down to talk, not only with me, but with other people about just what to expect in the Rocket League scene, what it really goes on behind the scenes, because you can always assume when stuff is obviously happening, and this just goes for esports in general, but sometimes you never really get the full picture, and
100%.
it really is huge that coaches like this, who are coaching RLCS level talent, you could have an ego about stuff like this. You could just choose to write people off that you don't know, but they're always open books, and I think that's a very respectable thing to have in the industry, is just willing to share your experience, and I really do love that about those two in all seriousness, despite how we joke on camera.
1,000,000%. One of the things I tell anybody, whether they're coming to St. Clair, thinking about St. Clair, or leaving St. Clair, whatever the case is, the best part about this school is the people. The people you meet, they're fantastic, and I just speaking with Yusuf right now just reminded me of that fact. The people here are fantastic, and it's a treasure to be able to talk to them about the competition that they put on for us. Like you said, it's very easy for people to kind of get sucked into that black hole, not even necessarily out of ego. Definitely, that is one factor for sure, but sometimes they're just so busy, they're so focused on trying to improve constantly.
Just don't have time.
Yeah, they don't have enough time to talk to us peasants in the streets, right? But it is always nice to see a lot of these coaches, especially coming out of the shell a little bit. Shout outs to Alonzo. He was like known as impossible to get onto any kind of stream whatsoever, and now he's coming up and just like talking with this team. Just awesome.
I remember I was trying to get one of his players for an interview at our League of Legends SGS event, and he was just like, "No," and we're like, "What do you mean no?" He was like, "No, they're playing right now. They need them locked in. They're not giving you an interview." And I remember, like, literally it took our producer to go and be like, "Okay, this isn't, like, something we're asking. It's something we're telling you to do. Like, you have to." And he was like, "Why?" Like, it was just one of those things where it's like he just didn't want to. But I respect it.
Blast. I love it.
No, but you know what? At the end of the day, I didn't view it as, like, a bad thing. I viewed it as simple. No, Alonzo is just one of those coaches on the other side of it in esports who, when he's locked in, he's just locked in. He's dialed. He doesn't want any distractions. He gets into a zen-like mind state with his team, and that's respectable. It's why they're one of the best teams in their respective region. And I think this is something that obviously the Rocket League guys have also, they've interpreted, and yes, they're a little more open, but at the same time, because of that, yeah, we've seen them throw series away. We've seen them troll games before. And sometimes it is one of those things where you truly do need no distractions in order to get locked in, especially when it gets to those big-time series. So this being playoffs, I mean, you've got one life. You throw it, it's over. Yeah. So you really can't be allowing yourself to get distracted. You need to be dialed in.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Zen-like states, I wish Alonzo would get into Zen-like states in my Dota games. I'll play with you more eventually once we get more time. But if the cost of winning and not throwing your games is less interviews, I'll pay that fee any day of the week. Okay, I love watching our teams win when they should and lose when they should, and no surprises. I love the consistency, and I hate when they're throwing and it's obvious that they're trolling. That makes me want to drink a lot of water because I'm going to be yelling in the future. But in any case, tonight I'm sure our team, despite what is perceived to be a relatively easy match, I'm sure they're going to bring their A game. If at the very least, not for their own sake of wanting to win, maybe at least to give UCM a taste of what that top level Rocket League looks like, and hopefully they can integrate that into their own strategies for their next matches, for their next semesters, whatever they have in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for UCM, I think the hardest part of what they're going to figure out tonight is honestly what to expect offensively out of St. Clair. And I know you might be asking, like, well, Pat, we've watched them all semesters, so, you know, we kind of know what they like to go for. Yes, they have their tendencies, but at the same time, it really is different when you get into the server. You know, they call Jazzy the tank. The main reason for that is, well, because of the fact that if you look at how he's played this semester, he literally has been a tank. He's been an aggressive first man. He's always looking for demos, bumps, boost steals to get defenders off position, and it makes it just that much harder for when the follow-up shots come through. He's also really good at cutting through the midfield on his way back from rotation and stalling the play to keep it in the enemy's corners. That's huge, and that's honestly stuff that doesn't really get tracked on the scoreboard, but he is a big contributor to why St. Clair is so offensively just amazing. Then you look at people like Zai. He's a sharpshooter. He doesn't miss very often, and, well, if he's going to hit something, it's going fast, and it's always placed in pretty much perfect scenarios in perfect places. It's very hard to defend shots that come through any three of our St. Clair players, let alone Zai. We talk about then Arju. He's a space creator. He's kind of the floor general, if you can. I know that's a basketball term, but he really is the one that controls the pace of the game, and he can really ramp it up. He can ramp up a play when he wants to, or dial it back, take it slow, take it controlled. And these are the sorts of things that you are able to do and able to see successful with just that many hours in the game, that much consistency, but also because of the level of competition you are then used to playing against. You're used to playing against people who are allowed to do that and are good enough to generate that type of success day in and day out. And for UCM, they aren't used to playing against this level of competition, at least to this degree. And I think when they get into this server, they can go for whatever they want. At the end of the day, when they find themselves on defense, that's going to be when we really, I think, start to see the difference not only between the players in terms of skill ceiling, but also maybe in terms of how many hours they've put into the game, what their tendencies on defense are like. Are they going to the backboard waiting for those saves? Are they making sure that they have someone back post for the double save or the double up on defense to make sure that they have the force of the follow-up man? These are things that don't really get highlighted, but that the best players in the world, they need to do. And UCM, they're going to experience that as we get into kickoff right now.
Absolutely. Like you were mentioning, Patrick, one of the biggest things to look out here is going to be the overwhelming pressure the state's going to be mounting. And like you mentioned, Jazzy already getting aggressive over in that corner, a pass up from Sai. They line this one straight up towards the net. Big Cheeser waiting for it on the ground. Jazzy already in his face. It makes the game so much more consistent, easy to execute and organize and play when everybody has their definitive role and is able to execute that flawlessly. We have not seen Jazzy leave that side of the field since this game started, and I think it's going to accumulate into that pressure that we're going to see UCM facing against. And when you have that pressure of that many shots going at you so frequently, with so much force, so much scariness behind them, it starts to wear you down. No matter how good you are in defense, you can't defend 100 shots in a row. It's just not possible.
Absolutely. I mean, we already just saw Zai go for a reset musty here, and this is the whole point, is when you do not insta-challenge on these guys, when you give them space to create, that's where the problems happen, because you don't necessarily even know if they're trying to go for a pass, a shot, maybe they're faking both of those and they're just trying to stall time for their teammates to grab boost for a follow-up. You have no clue. Team play going down, the team pinch happens, but no one off the backboard. And St. Clair, you know what, Arju, he was the third man there, and he drifted into a pretty aggressive position. I can tell St. Clair, they're playing a high line, but the net is wide open, and that's the reason for it. It's just going to be about midfield control. Jazzy, he has the perfect wall recovery into the ground pinch for the pass. That's not an easy play. That's not something that UCM Red are going to be commonly seeing in throughout their NACE run. And again, it's just generative plays like these that really fuel an offense. You got to know how to respond to them. UCM doing so as they find their demo. And I got to say, by the way, I love the name change, the combo up of Big Cheeser and Big Wheel. That's definitely my favorite. Reset, though, and it's over top. The follow-up shot to come through from Zai, maybe. Against the ceiling. Has his flip, can elect on how to use it. Goes for a pass. Arju's there, but it gets cut out by Big Wheel. Good job there from UCM to just stay alive for now.
Yeah, allowing Jazzy now to play the field. Like you mentioned, midfield control is going to be where a lot of this game is decided. PZY doing a good job just chasing this ball, preventing it from getting too much leeway over here. A good save coming from teammate Arju, carrying this one forward, bearing the torch with Sai right next to him, beaming down for the net, but not going to go in. That last shot went through from Saints into UCM's goal because no one was there, no one was present in the net because the Saints were just putting so much pressure. They're trying to find a way to interrupt, intercept, and get the ball out. But now I think they've recognized that even trying to intercept allows them openings that they don't want to and can't afford to make. So I think we're seeing UCM, they've tied up their defense just a little bit now. We're not seeing that net open as much anymore, and they're kind of working off of each other's absences a little bit better. We're seeing every time someone switches out to get boosts, someone else is there to fill their role. I think exactly what you want to be seeing against a team like the Saints.
I was just going to say, that's a great fake, and Big Wheel, he actually has a flick. Is anyone there for a follow-up shot? They are. There's going to be a tough save, and there you go. You know what? St. Clair, again, remember, listen, you can write them off all you want, but at the end of the day, these are still Grand Champ players. It's not like they're going to miss open nets. They're technically still the second highest rank in the game, and there you go. The demo comes in from the back line, and that's a beautiful play. Look at young Johnny. He has the demo. He knows that there's only one on the backboard, and then Big Wheel has that awareness. He can find the demo there, and Big Cheeser, he's already sitting down below. There's no one coming through for the bump. The guy who was going to do that got demoed off the pitch, and sometimes, you know what, I was going to say St. Clair, what I get worried about from them is I was noticing, yes, they're putting on shot after shot after shot, but in doing so, they're playing such a high line. They're playing very aggressive. Arju with an attempt at a full field psycho, but it's not on target.
What do you think would happen if our team actually lost this? Like, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, you know what? I was going to say, if anything for UCM, it helps. There's no pressure on them at all.
Exactly.
In fact, I'd already say, they've impressed me already with just that team play that we saw. They're drawn 1-1. You can't really, you know, what are you going to do?
They showed up.
You can't. They showed up. They competed. Exactly.
A lot of teams would just forfeit.
Right. I mean, if you came across these three in a game of ranked, you don't want to do that. So, you know what? I mean, all credit to them. The ceiling pinch goes down, but we have a game on our hands to kneel. It's 1-1, a minute left. St. Clair, they get overexposed one more time, and again, it would be all over. That's a great ground pinch, but it's not on target.
But it's going to allow him to set up off the backboard. Teammate's coming up. Sai getting close, inching. It's going to go for a shot. Bouncing off. Jazzy's there. But there is a nice defensive rebound save coming out for UCM. Arju going across. He's going to get that 50 off the wall. Jazzy coming up from the follow-up.
These pre-jumps are crazy.
Bouncing it off the wall. Sai, he's going to catch it. Again, like you mentioned, 30 seconds remaining and we're tied up. Are we going to go to an overtime in game one, Patrick? I don't know, but with these shots, it might not.
You know what? I have no clue, but it's just about if UCM can weather the storm. That backboard shot, I believe, from Zai there should almost never be a miss, but you know what? He whiffed it. He flubbed it. And because of that, UCM, they're still in this game. 8 seconds left to go. The Musty attempt goes through. That's a little bit of a rouge touch on defense, but they have people back post to help them. This is good right now. And there you go.
Wow.
Game one. And I'd already say UCM have embarrassed St. Clair because they've forced an overtime already. Something that not a lot of people would have expected right out the gate. Arju off the ceiling has Sai, and there you go. Crossbar is the fourth man on defense for UCM Red.
And it looked like they were all just like triple committing for the ball midair there. I don't know what the Saints were doing there in that instant, but Sai just bouncing this off the corner. Big Wheel catching it in the air.
UCM win.
I
really do want to see. I want to see UCM win because
I want to see them 3-0 us.
Just I'm imagining like myself in this position. This would be the best moment in my career, like by far.
I would go to job interview.
I wouldn't either. If I take a game off of St. Clair Green, that's going on Twitter. Immediately, it's going on Twitter. It's going on, well, anything really. It's my social media profile pic. It's literally everything.
It's gonna go my back. I'm gonna get it tattooed.
Yeah, I might get it tatted. Like honestly. So UCM drawn 1-1. Arju reset off the top, and well, that's the problem.
What I say? I called it.
Yeah. Again, this is what happens sometimes. Is well, that's the mistakes we're talking about. Arju doesn't even know what's going on. They're like, guys, what did we just see? Zai is laughing, and well, Jazzy, I know you can't tell, but he definitely has his eyebrows raised. You can't believe that they've just let that one through. And well, yeah, St. Clair, in probably the most anticlimactic fashion, have taken game one.
To be fair, it was supposed to be anticlimactic in just a different way.
It
It
was.
was supposed to just be like 1-0 or like 7-0, and then the game goes to the next.
Yeah,
but
you know what? You only lost to St. Clair by 1 goal, and it was in overtime
True.
as well.
True.
It's not the worst thing to really talk about. Now,
Yeah.
yes, if you were watching the series, then sure, that's a pretty bad one to give up. That should be a save all day, even if you're in Grand Champ. That should be just a given. But
damn.
But at the same time, on paper, that loss doesn't look as bad at all.
On paper,
You just lost 2-1 in
That's-
overtime. You forced overtime. That's not bad at all.
not getting that save is still 10 times less egregious on paper than the Saints even being in that position.
Exactly.
So,
Like, I'm not going to talk about the save getting missed. I'm going to talk about the fact that UCM were trailing 1-0 and they
Yeah.
tied it up and forced overtime.
exactly. But in this next game, it's anything goes. Let's see if the Saints want to tidy up their game plays. The ball drifts over midair.
This is a double commit.
Orange.
That's
Big
tough.
would be big.
That should have been an open net. I was going to say, if that is handled with a little more care, that's probably a redirect straight in, but...
Uh-oh, maybe it's this time. Off the crossbar, though, but
He's got an open shot.
Big wheel, not
Little
fast
too
enough.
high.
But Big
There it is, it opens up!
Ready, right in the crease, and he's gonna get that one in for UCM on the board.
Saints, what are we doing? Look at this. I mean, Jazzy, he's just in no man's land. Shout out to the land we
All
just
right,
had.
buddy,
And,
okay.
well, UCM Red, they're on the scoreboard first. Now, yeah, they have to throw everything at them, but what does it matter? A goal's a goal.
That's
They
it.
take the lead.
Now they can just all sit in the net.
Park the
All
bus.
three of them. Yeah, they have
Park
no
the
reason.
bus. Just make sure that you stay good on defense, and that's all you need, technically.
Oh,
But no,
hey,
they want more.
And he might get it. Big Cheeser popping this one in the air. Aji ready for the defense. Using some boost committing. He's going to find someone on the ground. PZY catching this one, sending it to the center field. Jazzy allowing him, holding it up like a golf tee, allowing him to get a huge shot towards the blue side. But as Jazzy catches the rebound, trying to catch it, cradle it, allow it to find the back of Sai as Arju comes towards the corner, tries to pinch it off. It's going to bounce towards the
That's
net.
an insane pass.
Jazzy, a huge missile towards. I want to see the speed on that one. Not going to get to see it.
Look at this from Arju, though. He gets the reset off the first touch, and from there he reads the corner to use the flip that he generated on the ball to then force the pass. That's insane mechanics there from Arju. But at the same time, St. Clair, they have to do more than just that. They need to take the lead now. This is a great fake, but Jazzy has it read out.
Beautifully done. Done by both sides there. Sai gonna miss that one. Maybe it was calculated as Arju takes it dangerously close to a goal. Looking for another one as Sai drifting around on
Should
the
be
ground.
open.
Reset this one floating in the air as Jazzy bounces off the crossbar and then touches it in. Sai finishes off that goal. We're just 3 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. Saints leading only by 1. UCM Red. Well, they have to take that bus out of the parking gear and get ready to go full steam ahead. Try to take this to another tie game.
And this is one of those problems I pointed out earlier. There really should be somebody on the backboard to just watch out for Zai in that scenario, but there just wasn't anyone there. There were two people who were just on the midfield, though, on the goal line, but hold on. UCM, they generate another opportunity. This is a great musty to generate space from Arju, but no one's able to follow it in time. Jazzy needs to watch out for the repositioning. Arju's literally carrying this ball back for UCM. He's doing the job for them, and you never really know. You don't necessarily want to be in that position, but the ceiling pitch goes down. Zai has a flip,
wow.
and oh my god!
All
Jazzy, the pre-jump. Zai
Look at
off
that.
the ceiling has the flip, uses the second one to lift the ball back into Jazzy's car, who's already in position.
That was cute.
That's some Verstaland link up right there, if I do say so myself. St. Green, they move up with their safety net of 2, but UCM will see if they can answer back.
Okay, I like that one. If we're gonna do flashy, trolly stuff, I'll let that one slide. Okay, that was beautiful. Now just lock in. Lock in. That's my stance.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, there you go. So it's like what you have
can't
your
top
one,
it.
you have your one flashy team play. Why go for more? Because right now you're giving up open nets. There you go, UCM.
An extra 30 seconds into the series, all right?
Eventually, if you poke a bear with a stick of too much, you know the saying goes that well, the bear's probably gonna rock your stuff, and well,
It's a good saying.
there you go.
It's a good saying.
There you go.
There's
So
some big fans of rocking people.
or I guess the horse in this case scenario. If you poke the horse, if you poke the horse too many times with a stick, the horse is just going to kick you in the face, right?
You can survive a horse kick to the head. You got a hard head.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard a lot of people say I have a pretty dense skull, but that being said, I don't think that I'd be able to survive that.
I think that would be a detriment to you in that case. As your brain bounces off, Sai bounces off the ball, sends it to the back of the net for another goal for St. Clair.
Well, you know what? At this point, it's just clockwork. I mean, it's just unfortunate. Big Wheel not in the position, too little boost to get there. St. Clair, they reestablished their safety net of 2. And there you go. Kickoff goal ensues because St. Clair are napping. They're asleep on the wheels. Zai just gets diffed on kickoff. I mean, Zai, there you go. Big Cheeser. You can officially say that you are better than Zai at Rocket League kickoffs.
And as he said in chat, they don't call him big for nothing.
No. Makes big plays. Big time players make big time plays. I've said that in the past, and right now, UCM. Could they tie this up? Big Wheel should have a decent shot on net, but it's just not fast enough. Everyone from St. Clair already there. The Musty into the pass again. That is absolutely ridiculous.
They're like playing pinball, man.
From Arju and Jazzy. It is exactly what's going on, but at the same time, it's not able to link up. Credit to UCM. They had people in position for the save.
Now Arju in the corner, getting that 100 boost. Going to allow him to make a fancy play here. Drifts down. Scoots for it, taking it center field, cradling it as usual. Jazzy trying to get some kind of weird pinch play going. Sai in the corner, gonna get intercepted as it falls towards the center of the net. Arju carrying this one. Sai getting ready to meet him mid-air, bounces it towards him just slightly off the mark. That's Big Wheel, Big Cheeser. They're teaming up to make a big time play, as Patrick would say here, as it hits the corner. Sai gonna take that one, but Arju just a little bit early on that release, trying to get that one towards net. Big Wheel chasing from corner to corner.
I was to say, it's a little bit of a double commit on defense as well. I don't know. This is getting dangerous, Daniil.
It's very dangerous with 40 seconds remaining. Saints already 1 point in the lead, looking to get another one here. Sai! He's going to delicately spin like an arrow in the wind as he waited for that ball to get in position, as he darts it towards the back of the net. Once again, Saints are now up 2 points, 36 seconds remaining, and UCM might be down in this game too.
Well, that's the problem, is that UCM, it doesn't really matter. You can imagine all you want. They aren't used to seeing plays like that actually come through at the level of competition that they've been facing. I've looked on the record. None of the teams that I've seen are probably hitting a play like that, at least consistently, as St. Clair have been doing so the entire series. But right now, that's kind of just the difference. But credit to UCM, they've still gotten on the scoreboard 3 separate times on 3 different occasions. And, well, they made good on St. Clair's mistakes to at least capitalize. This could be a potential double tap, but it's going to get forced back out from Jazzy. Being said, I think Big Wheel was a little too far to his right side to be able to force that one through, but that was a dangerous shot. I believe it was just slightly off target. St. Clair, they take their second game. But again, UCM, it's not complete shutouts. They're at least throwing up respectable results on the scoreboard. You have to tip your cap to them at the very least.
Oh, I'm tipping my cap, and now I'm tipping my fedora, and I'm going to now tip my beret towards UCM, as they're, again, putting on a great performance. Saints, they're pulling some stunts here and there.
Look, at the end of the day, like, St. Clair, they're taking care of business, but at the same time, you know what?
Fun.
Credit to UCM. I get it. St. Clair, I can definitely tell they're kind of trolling. They're having a little bit of fun, sometimes a little bit of too much fun. But at the end of the day, they're finding the result that they want.
Exactly.
UCM, this is probably one of the coolest things that their players have experienced all season, because they're not only competing in this series with St. Clair, they're also not getting stomped at the same time, at least scoreboard-wise. I know on the field, looking at it, you would think, well, if we take a look at the ball possession numbers, it's not going to be very high in your favor. But at the same time, no one can see that when you look at the results sheet on NACE afterwards.
True.
They're going to see 2-1 overtime, 5-3 loss. That's not horrible. It's not bad at all. It's very respectable, if anything.
We're not going to beat the snob allegations. We're here talking about how it must be the highlight of these guys' days to play against.
I mean, I'm just thinking, if it was me in their position, it definitely would be as well. I mean, with, again, GC players, when you're literally going up against this team. Yeah, like, I've literally seen these guys on RLCS Pro streams throughout the season. It's so cool even for me to just cast this team in general.
Yeah.
Let alone, God, can I only imagine playing in a server with them? Yeah, I'd get absolutely like slammed, but at the same time, it would be pretty cool. I'd want to see how I'd match up. And right now, UCM, they're getting very close to finding goals. I mean, they even last game, they scored first. They were the ones who set the pace, and they very well almost got back on the board. This is an overcommit from St. Clair. A bump comes through and it just barely saves them, but UCM, that probably should have been a goal, even
play cool right now.
For the fact that they are just grand champs. That was kind of an open net, so St. Clair, they were able to get back in time. This is big from Big Wheel. If he can find this beat, no.
Not quite. Young Johnny, though.
Didn't happen.
He's going to meet the bumper of Jazzy or Sai as he met him with that ball. Unfortunate is what you say. Planned, predicted, and beautiful. What I'll say is Jazzy takes this from corner to corner. Big Cheeser getting ready to challenge him. Young Johnny gonna get beat out in the air. Jazzy has full control of this ball. Bouncing it back as the teammate gets the demo. Now trying to just keep it in full control. Teammates just doing spins in the air. Big Wheel getting ready to be the hero, but Arju is gonna be the villain and snuff out any hope of victory he had for that shot. Jazzy riding the wall, getting ready for a shot, but the demo's gonna come through as the rest of the Saints are gearing up for a shot attempt of their own. You can already see the gears turning in their heads, figuring out how they want to execute this one. Arju catches this one, bouncing off of the center, carrying to the wall, wants to do another reset, but they're catching on. UCM, they know exactly what their plans consist of, and they are now playing proactively to beat them before they beat those walls, beat those corners, get those ground pinches. A great amount of adaptability coming from UCM right now, and I really like to see the resilience that they're putting on. The defense is definitely tightened up. The confidence is now also showing up a little bit more as Sai carries this one to the corner. Arju ready for that shot, but again, proactive plays coming from UCM. They're no longer reactive. Don't look like they're scared. They look like some serious contenders who want to show their stuff, and they might get the chance here as BCY lies a dirty shot. Can they get the save? It's not going to be fast this time around. Maybe a little bit of a misplay, miscommunication from the Saints here as Big Cheeser lines up for a shot.
It's a great pass.
Huge one, but not going to get any value as the Saints are ready to intercept. Sai is going to be the one to take this one out of orange side. Unless Biglo has anything to say about it. Yes, he does. Meeting on the ground, taking to another corner. Arju finding this one out. Big Cheeser meets him in the air. Really well done. Teammates just a little
He almost had the dunk there, Daniil, honestly.
Beautiful.
It would have been nice. I'm rooting for UCM here. Like, you were talking about how they've shown adaptability on defense, and I'm seeing it. We just saw a play where Young John was able to go to the backboard and beat Sai. He already had the feeling the follow-up shot was coming through. This is an open net. If the double can be found, which it can, Big Wheel with 151 has put UCM in front in the driver's seat.
Once again, they are
great
going
shot.
To find the first goal. I can't listen. Maybe I'm stupid, but I can't see like any trolling there from the Saints. That was just straight up a shot and a goal and a play from UCM that allowed them to beat them there. There's no excuse. So UCM, really well done here. And
it's a great fake.
Yeah, 100%. They've been doing a lot of that in this series, and it's been paying out for them very well. Let's see if it's going to get them another shot, if it's going to cash them this check, but not quite. Arju beats this ball before it goes too far out of blue corner. Sai is going to be playing with him up here as he beats it, bouncing off once again. But again, proactive play, bouncing off the wall. The Saints are trying to make a play off of that, but going to catch it and change the trajectory as they're going to. That was a little scary. It looked like it was right in front. It was like right in front of the TV. They want to hit a golf ball straight through the center of it. Really well done by UCM as they are ramping up their offense, which is preventing the Saints from getting up their own.
Yeah, you know what it is? The possession numbers have definitely looked a lot better than the first two games. In UCM, they are, yes, facing elimination, but they're definitely performing the best. That was on target. That was almost going to be a great shot, but Zai just happened to have an even better save. Demo comes through, and there you go! UCM red. 52 seconds, and now Johnny on the scoreboard. It's a brilliant demo as well by Big Cheeser. Again, these are not horrible plays that we're seeing from UCM, or at least it's not St. Clair trolling. UCM, they're doing good work on the offense, and 2-0 up. I congratulate them. This is awesome to watch right now. Demo comes through, but Big Cheese is already waiting on the backboard, and now ball off the ceiling. They have to be conscious, but St. Clair, they're already playing another high line. The beat comes through. Is that pinched? Is that in their net? Saved off the crossbar, Arju. St. Clair, they were almost looking at going down 3-0, and I'm not going to lie, with 20 seconds left to go, I'm going to punch it in early. UCM, in my opinion, I think
so.
I think they're so close. This, however, might be a chance for St. Clair. The shot doesn't come through. Follow-up attempt, but no good. UCM, please survive. 10 seconds, UCM. Can you find a win against St. Clair Green? It's going to be Zai off the backboard, and as the clock strikes 1, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. UCM, they've made me very proud. I'm a UCM fan.
1,000,000%.
And they have now clawed their way. They have a win on the series. Long smiles across the faces of St. Clair, or not long smiles, long frowns, opposite, straight faces across the bench of St. Clair. Yeah. UCM, congratulations. That is absolutely phenomenal. That was a great game that you played there. It was brilliant. We were talking about defensive adaptability. I saw that they were cutting off St. Clair a lot of times when it happened to be placed from the backboard.
The ball on the reflections, being there. It's like it's like science class when you're doing the calculations for the reflections in the mirror. They're there. They're doing that 10 times faster than any professor can.
They've attended optics class, and right now
mirrors,
they're becoming professors
concave
of their own. Sure, just keep throwing terminology out there.
Ray.
Yes, but right now, St. Clair, you have to lock in. You've already lost a game in this series. Can you imagine if UCM take 2 all of a sudden? Well, no. You know, there is such a thing as a caster curse, but I can tell you right now, I'm already very impressed with how they took game 3. I do as well. You gotta love the combo of Big Wheel and Big Cheeser, but St. Clair, well, they're first on the scoreboard now.
I'm a big fan of this UCM team. They're showing a lot of heart, and I really like that last game especially. I feel like when you see a team like this, it always comes back to Dragon Ball, doesn't it? It's like when they hit Planet Namek, it was over. They're never going back to being normal again. The scaling of power from that point is different. They have reached Super Saiyan from Game 0 to...
Oh, that's disgusting.
My point still stands, where even though these guys are stronger, they have reached a plateau of power that they will never come down. Wherever they were at Game 1 in this series, they will never be at again, because after this Game 3, and that Game 2, 3, whatever that last game was, they ascended beyond the previous limits.
Yeah, but you know what? The problem with ascending to previous limits is sometimes that ascension isn't, well, strong enough to stop a reset muskie. It's just hard right off the backboard. It's a good play there from Arju, but right now, St. Clair, they need to just get this one over and done with. UCM Red, they're staying composed, or at least hoping to stay composed on defense, and as the ball moves up the pitch size, should be able to intercept this one. Reset comes through, there's the pass. It's going to be fed back to Zai, but it just falls gracefully into the corners. Now, Big Cheeser, you know what, sometimes the camera's on you. You have to have your SSL moment, and well, it didn't go so well that time, but it's okay. There are many moments in this series where you can take away as a win, in my heart at least, and well, winning Game 3, that was enough for me already.
Game 3, yes, it was Game 3. I was struggling, my brain was frozen for a second. But yes, that Game 3 from UCM, I think they have had that taste, that experience of playing against this high-level play, and they've learned how to do it, even just a little bit, which will put them miles ahead of the competition that they're used to. I wouldn't be surprised if you see this team doing a lot better in the next season, but Arju just slowly rolling that one in, guiding it, just like tapping it into the net as it rolled past it. 3-0 right now for St.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. Big Cheeser there, just with the backflip, sends the ball straight pretty much into his own net, past the defender who had drifted a little too far into the near post.
And as the kickoff gets done here, Demo's going to come out. Young Johnny forced onto the respawn. Big Wheels chasing this one as it hits off the center. Young Johnny passing it towards the middle. Once again, Sai is going to make that shot, but in the opposite direction than he was hoping. Taking it back over to blue side now. Big Wheel catches this one out of the jaws of Jazzy. He's going to miss that one as he flies into the corner. We're seeing Sai.
That's an awkward touch.
She was a huge kick. Like, kind of did a bicycle kick towards his teammate.
Yeah, you know what? It was an awkward touch, though, and I was really wondering there if young Johnny could have beaten, I believe it was Sai to the ball first. Cheeser up top trying to create a reset. It's actually a fake into a shot. That's a great team play there from UCM. The problem is, can they survive in the rotation? They find the demo, so that should help. Cheeser off the backboard. You have time. Zai has a double flip reset, but when you take too much time to create a play like that, it becomes readable. And right now, Arju passed down to Jazzy. He's looking back to Arju and
whip that one.
the way, honestly, I was going to say, Daniil, the way you were going about that, that's such a hard play to nail down no matter what rank you are, but none too pleased is Daniil Betterson me because you can always be better when you're trying to make those plays.
I thought it was going in. I looked at it and I was like, oh, and then, you know, it misses it. A little disappointed. I was expecting to see just the fastest launch I've ever seen in my life. Straight. I wanted to see the game give you Guinness World Record after this, but unfortunately not going to quite its way. Arju, he's going to do his best to just go for another goal here with his teammate going over his roof. They're just completely dancing with the ball at this point, just faking themselves out at that point. No one knew who was going to end up getting that touch. Sai going to stall that one in the air, give his teammates time to get the boost and come back for more. Jazzy, or Arju rather, in the corner, going to tap that one out. Sai carrying it forward back to blue side. Tapping it forward just a little bit, getting it in a good position, but no shot follow-up from the Sace. Jazzy tipping this one, just creating the awkward angle. Teammate coming up from behind. UCM Red, they want that goal. They're triple committing at this point. Their net's wide open. Arju with PZY in the flank, looking for the shot, and they are not fast enough to get back in the net. UCM Red losing another goal, and with 48 seconds remaining, it's not looking like they're going to be able to tie this one up.
Yeah, you know, it's just tough. It's hard to read Arju with the Mac tough reset and then immediately just uses the rest of the control to fuel the ball into that UCM net. And, well, this one's over. This one's done and dusted, barring the greatest miracle ever. But at the same time, UCM, I can respect what plays you have left in store. We saw that they've at least gotten used to St. Clair's pacing a little bit better, especially showed in the early stages of Game 3 and 2. Right now, I think it's just a little bit too much to handle because sometimes we're seeing that those defenders on UCM have pretty much nothing. They're running on pretty much fumes, and the problem with that is when St. Clair just go for these high plays, there's no one left back to contest that has boost. Look at young Johnny, right? Nothing in the tank. He at least gets the beat. Do St. Clair, are they able to finish it off in a clean sheet? They are.
Yes, sir.
They get the series, but it was not a flawless one.
Not at all.
Not a flawless one.
Not
As
at all.
UCM, they showed up, they competed, and in my books, they got a win in my heart.
You could have said succeeded, man. That would have been
They got a win in my heart.
They want to make it rhyme, man. They oh, I don't even remember what you said anymore. I can't finish off the rhyme, but they got a win in both of our hearts. Patrick, UCM, you have a new fan in me. Okay. Well done in this series. I liked seeing what I saw. And again, my favorite type of rosters are the true, homegrown, honest to God, like you said, just grassroots teams. It's just a group of players. They want to see how far they can take it. Had an experience myself this weekend on Saturday, No Man's Land, Marvel Rivals. Shout out to the Frog Council. We're just a group of guys who wanted to see what we could do. We did pretty well. I like seeing that kind of stuff in esports.
Yeah, you know, I heard, speaking about that, you guys, every time you won, you would just start saying ribbit. And you know, Wyatt, Swag Studios raps, and he didn't really know what was going on at that point, fellow caster, but he said he was intrigued, and it immediately made you guys fan favorites, at least to him. So there you go.
My teammates are doing it.
You won Wyatt's heart over, and well, UCM, they won our hearts over because honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it: MVP of the series, Young Johnny.
I was gonna say Big Cheeser.
Young Johnny, because he was adapting to St. Clair's aerial plays. He got on the scoreboard a couple of times as well. I believe he put 2 in the back of the net in that series. I could be incorrect on that notion. I think Big Cheeser scored a little bit more, so maybe you are right. But you know what? The whole point is they all showed up to play when it mattered most. And well, I'm not going to lie, especially for Grand Champs, They definitely made me proud. That was awesome.
They're representing
to
our
watch.
people. Grand champs.
Yeah, you know what? Sure, absolutely. But I'll say this right now: St. Clair, they took home the dub. Obviously, they took care of business. 3-1, your final scoreline, and let's just take a look at those last stats, or even just series MVP. If you had to guess, realistically now on St. Clair, you think Jazzy's
Probably.
the MVP of the series?
Probably, just given how aggressive he was. You win a game by scoring. That's just the nature of it. If we're looking at who got the most goals, or at least who set them up most for the Saints, Jazzy's probably there. The saves and stuff, not necessarily as important, as we weren't seeing them. Not to say that they're not important in other series. If this was against a scarier team, I might be saying Arju, considering how good his holds were in the midfield. But this series, where if it comes down to just getting as many goals as frequently as possible and setting them up, probably Jazzy.
Well, I believe we have our MVP stats ready to go, and now we will shortly see who it is. And drum roll, please. It's going to be Arju. 5 goals, 3 assists, 2 saves on 13 shots throughout this series. Had some brilliant displays of mechanical skill as he was able to have the free time to pull some of them off. And, you know, for Arju and for a lot of the Saints, this one may have felt like a little more of just a skill showcase. But at the same time, you really have to tip your cap to UCM. They still showed up and did their best. And I think
100%.
that it's very respectable in the way that they went down in NACE playoffs. But St. Clair move on, and I do believe we will have an MVP interview as well. So, Arju, I'm very much dying to ask him some questions when given the chance. But Daniil, immediately, I have to say, this one was a good one for St. Clair. They performed very well, especially in their team plays. It was cool to see them link up. And my favorite play of the series was most definitely the Jazzy to Zai combo, where Zai was coming off of the backboard and then immediately found Jazzy. But now, speaking of people who weren't involved in that team play, we have Arju here. And Arju, you are the MVP of your series. Guys, you let a game slip. What happened? Just be real.
I think we were just having a bit too much fun. But yeah, sometimes it happens. We went right back on track the game after, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I could definitely see the switch up there, and I really have to say it was notable. You know what? Hats off to UCM. Did you feel like in Game 3 and on the early stages of Game 2, they sort of started to become more aware of what you guys were throwing at them? I saw sometimes they were beginning to now start to meet you guys at the backboard, work their way in transition, notice when you guys had overextended. They started picking up on some of that stuff. And when they started doing that, what was your response?
I mean, I think, yeah, they started adapting after a couple games, but I don't think it didn't really do anything. We just kept playing our game, maybe like switched up some things, but yeah, I mean, I think if we just have confidence, we're better than them, like we're not going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I want to talk to the man behind that scary Rocket League car a little bit here. Arju, I want to know about you, all right? What was your favorite class in high school? What was your least favorite class? Tell me.
Oh, okay, my favorite class, probably I'd say like history, probably worst class, chemistry, definitely chemistry.
You didn't like chemistry? You didn't
No.
mess with the titration lab?
No.
Come on.
Chemistry
Am I the
almost
only one
was the
that liked
death of
it?
me. No chemistry.
I was going to say, it's kind of crazy that chemistry your least favorite class, considering the chemical reactions that you use and create on the pitch. And I got to say, you know, looking forward for the NACE playoffs ahead, what can we expect out of you guys to see as the going gets tougher the longer down the stretch we go?
I mean, I think you can still expect complete dominance. I mean, we're pretty confident. We're playing good. We're having fun. So I don't think there's any other results possible, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was going to say, actions speak louder than words, and we'll see if you can back up the talk, but we love hearing it all the time. Thank you so much, Arju, and good luck on your future series.
Thank you, guys.
Godspeed, sir. And Patrick, I think that about takes us to our conclusion for the night. We had 4 fantastic games of Rocket League, some more fantastic than others. Shout out to Game 3. But at the end of the day, business as usual for the Saints, more or less. They're progressing through the NACE playoffs. It's kind of crazy to think, wow, we're in NACE playoffs already. The end of the semester.
It's completely flown by.
Semester's over. That's crazy to think about. We are in the last legs of this esports season for the semester, and I'm very excited to see, not just for Rocket League, but for all our other teams, what kind of legacies are going to be left behind as a result of these next few weeks? It's an exciting time to be around.
Well, you know what? I have to say, legacies, they were made tonight for UCM Red. And, well, for me and you, Daniil, this might be one of our final times casting together.
True.
So I will say, if, because we are graduating soon,
Yes,
we do not
sir.
return. I've enjoyed sharing the desk with you, and I've enjoyed this stream tonight. And because of that, I want to give a quick thank you to everyone in the back. I believe it was Theo and Adrian, so it was a very short-run staff, but they made it work perfectly. Shout out to all the fans watching as well. Shout out all the viewers. Shout out the players.
Shout out to you,
UCM
Patrick.
Red showing up. Shout out Daniil.
You always make the desk a pleasure. Full clarity, I only showed up tonight because I knew I was going to cast with Patrick. Okay, it's always a pleasure. Love working with you, buddy. Excited to see what you do in your future, especially after you graduate.
I appreciate the kind words, and also shout out to our sponsors. Daniil, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here
Not
without
at all.
them. So shout out to
Not at all.
Alienware, the SRC, the Alumni Association, Tim Hortons, and Subway. And guys, tune in next time on Saints Gaming for more esports adventures.
See you soon.